All right, everyone. So we are doing another one of our animator interviews here. And today we have Darren Sudric. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hello. Happy to be here.
Oh, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here. Um, so usually when I actually let me back up a little bit. So usually I start off where would my students maybe have seen some projects you worked on?
Oh, sure. I most recently worked on Smiling Friends for Adult Swim. I
Okay.
worked on seasons 2 and 3 as an animator and retake artist. I've worked on a lot of, just in general, a lot of Adult Swim stuff. Worked on China, Illinois,
Okay.
and Hargnal and Sclopio Pipio,
Did
which
you work Wishmo on that one? He's another guy we talked to who I think was
uh,
China, Illinois, or was it kind of independent?
Yeah. At the time I worked in-house at Titmouse LA and Smo worked in New York.
Ah, okay. I got you.
I'd encounter Smo's files sometimes. And I also worked on 2D animated sequences with Titmouse for the third Trolls movie and
Great.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Awesome. I
And
know all my students have seen that one for sure. That's always the big reference. At least it
oh,
was
cool.
2 years ago when I was teaching everyone, when I went around and asked like, what's your favorite animated movie? Or, like
Oh
there was
yeah.
always references to that one. So usually when
Stylish
I start off,
movies.
oh, sorry, what did you say?
Oh, just some stylish. Yeah, like the
Yeah, it's
Spider-Verse
very
movie,
cool
super
movie.
stylish.
I love the style of it. So
Yeah.
where does your love of art or animation come from, do you think?
Uh, I, I, I grew up just loving like The Simpsons and
Hmm.
was like a, the perfect age for like all the original Nicktoons and Cartoon Network
Hmm.
shows. Like
Well, I'm gonna date myself. When you say the original, do you mean like Doug and Rugrats, or is there like ones past that? Because that was
Rocco.
I grew up in the
Yeah.
early 90s when that would have been like the original ones, but
Oh
I have a
yeah.
feeling
Well, it's
you're
like Rocco's
younger,
the
so
second generation.
what was yours? It was like a Hey Arnold, I think was the
Rocco was the big one
oh
I was
Rocco, yeah.
into. And for the earlier Cartoon Network stuff, because that was a couple years later, Ed and Eddie was the one that really like got me
Hmm.
really, really interested in animation. But the thing that really got me started to think about animation production and just anything in that in general was getting those big Simpsons DVDs that they used
Hmm.
to make,
Right.
and I used to just listen to the commentaries for those
Sure.
episodes over and over again. They're a little writer biased, but
Sure, yeah.
learning about like the animation production, seeing all the animatics and everything really got me into it when I was like 10 or 11.
Great. So you're really into like some of the Cartoon Network stuff and the Nicktoons
Yeah.
and the Simpsons, obviously. I think for most men are kind of rough age range. That's pretty
Yeah.
common.
Yeah,
Where do
I
you
had some
go?
strong opinions.
Where do you go from there with that? Like, where do you go to art school or what?
Uh, I just so throughout all of high school, I was one of those people that animated in Flash for like and posted
Sure.
stuff to like Newgrounds
Right. Yeah.
and
So for my younger students because now that
Mhm.
Flash is less of
Yeah.
a thing, I would say from like, I don't know, 2001-ish, 2002 to probably like 2015.
Hmm.
Newgrounds was kind of this like hub of Flash. I used to go there more for games, if I'm being honest, but they were all Flash based or Adobe Animate based. But
Hmm.
like lots of people would like upload their own cartoons and games and whatever you want to call them to this hub. Think of it as like YouTube, but for anime, like Flash stuff
Hmm.
essentially. So that's what Newgrounds was for my
Yeah.
younger students because it's not since Flash has kind of gone out of favor. It's less, I think, a little less relevant than it was maybe 15 years ago. But
Yeah. No, I totally get that. It's still around and kicking, surprisingly enough. And funnily enough, with Flash, Adobe Animate is the main program I animate in to this day.
sure, me
Uh,
too.
yeah. But yeah, I just went to a small state school in northwestern Pennsylvania called Edinburgh
Hmm.
University. And you know that was a school that had a just a general education program that I had to do like along with my animation courses. And
Mm,
throughout that, I produced a couple short films and like a 13-minute animatic for a pilot
okay.
at the other time, which I did, yeah, I did that like 15 years ago, but I'm like, oh, I still look back very fondly, like on my time at school and also like the work I was able to make while I was there. And yeah, still have a ton of friends that I interact with pretty regularly from there.
Great. So you go to school, you get you sounds like you got a general degree in art or something or animation or film animation kind of
Uh,
thing. Back then, unless you went to an art school, you probably they didn't really have like degrees in animation per se, but like
yeah, I think it was called cinema arts,
oh, okay.
may have been what
That
it
sounds like a
was.
very
Yeah.
2000s kind of term.
Yeah.
So you do that. So then where do you go after college?
Initially I was getting work through a website. I think it's called Upwork now, but it was
Oh,
called
yeah, yeah.
Odesk at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, there was this German guy that just started hiring me as like who would just give me client work just endlessly for a couple of years actually.
Okay. What were
Yeah,
you, was it like commercials or business related
he,
stuff or
it was explainer videos for a program that he made that
okay.
did sprite sheets and it like it like automatically like optimized them and everything and yeah
Got it.
he kind of just let me to my own devices where he's like hey here's a script and you just kind of do whatever you feel like with it art
Sure.
wise and then I moved to New York and literally threw a Craigslist ad that had a bunch of star emojis all over it.
That's how you know
I
it's good, is when it has like all of the
Yeah,
art
it
emojis.
sounded really ridiculous, but it
Uh,
was a guy named Mike Wartella
okay.
who works, I think, typically with Augenblick these days.
Oh,
Uh,
I interviewed Augenblick. He's great. I love him.
oh, cool. Yeah, yeah, I've always admired everything like Augenblick's studio's done. But yeah, I worked on the final season of shorts that Mike Wartella did for Cartoon Network's Mad for like a year or so. And then from there, I just did some random freelance gigs, whatever I could find. And then in 2014, I was looking at Twitter at just the right time,
Okay.
and an open call was posted looking for animators for season 3 of Adult Swim's China, Illinois.
Oh, nice.
And
And you were New
yeah,
York based at that time, right?
I was living in Cleveland at the
Oh,
time.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, oh, I lived in New York until I ran out of money, and then I
Right, right.
moved to Cleveland. And yeah, did got sent an animation test that I like just absolutely plowed through as fast as possible. Sent
Okay.
it over to try to
Right.
be one of the earliest
Yeah, yeah,
people.
that makes sense.
Yeah, a couple weeks later, got a call
Mhm.
asking if I wanted to move to LA, and
Great.
uh, yeah, and then yeah, I worked in house for Titmouse for like 2 or 3 years, kind of
So
on
when
a
you were working
conveyor.
at Titmouse,
Hmm.
as an animator, can you describe a little to my students what you were doing exactly? Were you animating characters? Were you
Yeah,
drawing
sure.
backgrounds? Like what were you doing exactly?
So for China, Illinois, yeah, I was doing character animation. They were providing character layouts for portions of the season, uh, where yeah, it was like already like these key drawings that existed. Although the characters were pretty much traditionally animated, but their heads were like a pre-built thing that you would choose like the keyframes of and like do the posing for.
Hmm.
And yeah, you take the drawings, you'd carve them up, you'd do your own animation with them, like in kind of however however you kind of wanted to like accomplish what the
Okay.
scene needed. And then you yeah, then it would get either shipped or someone in-house would clean the footage up. And then I also was typically responsible for doing like retakes and fixes on my own footage.
Okay.
Uh, and yeah, there were portions of the season where it's like, oh, you were only doing layout and it was getting shipped uh, to an international vendor who then would send it back and then you do like retakes on their footage. And yeah, yeah, it's like the creator of China, Illinois did a follow-up sketch comedy show that had a similar pipeline that I
Okay.
worked on afterward. And then yeah, I just kind of like got hired to random stuff for a couple years at Titmouse, and the final thing that I worked on in-house was a live action animated sitcom, yeah, like a hybrid sitcom called Son of Zorn for Fox.
Yeah, I've
That
seen that actually. That was
oh
like when I first got Hulu, like I was just kind of like looking through all the animations and I was like, it's kind of weird. It's surprising to me that they've never really done a live action mixed with cartoon. I mean, I get why, because it's a lot of work, but like,
I
I mean,
like
like we did in the 80s with Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and that was a
yeah.
success. So I'm surprised that no one's really tried to do it that I'm aware of. Maybe something happened in the 90s that just never worked out, but like,
Yeah.
you know.
Like I kind of wish they would like honestly like our pipeline by the end of that one season we did was down like if it had gotten renewed it would have been a lot simpler. It's like you have to
Yeah,
like
yeah.
figure out like how everything's working in the beginning, but it's just like, oh yeah, we were a pretty well-oiled machine by the end. But yeah, yeah, like I just keep going forward in my career, but if you have
Oh yeah,
any
yeah, sure.
questions, feel free to let me know. Because then went and started working remotely for Titmouse in 2017,
Okay.
and yeah, they kept me pretty regularly employed up until like 2024, where most of the year I would just be working on random stuff for them. A lot of special projects, like a lot of commercials, a lot of just
Okay.
short gigs. Sometimes I'd be doing like a couple at a time. Like I don't know how well the producers were coordinating with each other to know what I was working on, but
Sure.
yeah. Some of
And so
the yeah
that,
some of the stuff I'm proudest of is I worked on the Midnight Gospel for Netflix
okay. I've
in
heard of it. I haven't seen it,
2019.
but
Yeah, yeah, it's the guy that created Adventure Time, co-created it with Duncan Trussell, a comedian, and
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know Duncan Trussell.
yeah.
Or I mean, I've
Oh,
seen
cool.
his work,
Yeah,
but like
yeah, yeah. No, and it's like I'm really proud of the work I did on that show. I worked on like half the series, and just worked on just a lot of like a single season of a lot of different shows for a
sure.
bit, and yeah,
Well, let's back up a little bit. So for my
sure.
students, can you give some advice for what are some tips for animating a character? Do you have any tips or advice
Hmm.
for like maybe animating a character or just animation in general? Like, I mean, my
Sure.
students know the 12 principles and all that kind of stuff, but do you have any sort
Hmm.
of non-12 principle advice that kind of
Oh yeah.
uh that
Hmm.
might be a good insight for them?
Yeah, like I always, like as a character animator, you're also kind of an actor.
Mm,
Like that canard. Where it's just like, yeah, no, it's like whenever I get a scene, because I also the most common stuff I get assigned are character acting sequences.
sure.
Because yeah, my directors just they enjoy what I do with that. So yeah,
Sure.
no, it's like just you just really like let the line just let yourself mull it over in your head, play it through, like
Mhm.
record yourself acting it out. Like, yeah, whenever you see like
So
people
using
doing that.
references, like getting, yeah. And as
Yeah.
I've actually interviewed a one woman who actually is an actress, and she used to be a what's the word, consultant for Pixar. So she's not
Oh,
an
cool.
animator, but like she would like teach the animators how to be expressive, basically,
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, yeah, that's a definitely important part. And I always say like animation is meant to be exaggerated. You know what I mean? If you
Mhm.
want things to look realistic, go get a movie camera, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the point of animation is to be over the top, and so that means like, being more expressive in the way that
Mhm.
maybe like an actor on a stage is maybe more expressive than they would be if
Yeah.
in real life or even in a movie where it's more meant to be kind of realistic kind of situation.
Yeah. I totally get that. I guess I should preface with a lot of the stuff that I do. It's like, well, I already have like a storyboard, like an
Sure,
animatic
sure.
that I'm referencing, but it's like, oh, I as often as possible, it's like. I'll try to like fine tune the performances I'm working on to, to really try to elevate, like really send home, uh, which is like there's just so many like little things you can do too, especially like if like the character's like if in a fairly close up mode where it's like, oh yeah, I can do like a lot of like very subtle like eye acting things where just having like a little like small eye movement can really make you feel like there's like just something internal like happening in
Mm,
their thought process.
sure.
Just yeah, just I, that like there's a lot of case by case basis situations that really present different solutions to
Mm,
and yeah, it's like there are a lot of times where uh your first idea might not be the one that you end up you might have a
yeah.
couple of cycles of like attempting to see how it works, but
Yeah, drawing it out, seeing if it
mhm.
works, fine tuning it, right?
Yeah. Like obviously, yeah, like keeping in mind, it's like, oh, you have a deadline, so it's like
Right,
you're not gonna
sure.
mess around too much.
Sure.
Like, yeah, and I also try to like consider like what's like a very economical way to address something while also, don't want to half-ass it, want to
Right, right.
make sure.
So my students, you and I talked about this kind of briefly off air, but it's kind of like, okay, they're probably taken half, if maybe just one intro animation course. We do the basic character design, 12 principles, a basic short animation. So let's say I have a student and they're like, hey, I really enjoy animation. Maybe this is a career, maybe not, I don't know. What would your advice for, and they're at a community college, so they're not necessarily, they could go to a 4 year, but that's not necessarily where they are now. What would do you have any advice for that particular student?
Hmm. I guess just focusing like on like what makes you interested in animation
Okay.
and just I mean like f feel free to like play around with as much of like the concepts and positions that exist in animation. Like you might really find one that you really like where
Hmm.
it's like for me it's like I've been an animator throughout my entire career and it's like I kind of don't really. It's like I do other positions sometimes, but it's like I do
Sure.
really like just the little niche I'm in. Uh and whoa, sorry, what other
So it's sort of
aspect?
exploring different, sounds like you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, like you explore different roles and then maybe
Mhm.
see. Because I think when this happens at art school, sometimes you come into art school and you're like, I'm going to be this. And then you take a course because they force you to take this course. And you're like, oh, wow, I never thought about that. And like now I'm really into this thing. So, like, that happened at
Mhm.
my art school where like people would be like, I'm going to be a photographer. Then they leave and they're like a sculptor or like, a
Oh yeah.
filmmaker. So it's like
No,
trying out different things, I think is good. Obviously there's nothing wrong with following your passion and all that. But,
mhm.
don't be afraid. You never know what until you try it sometimes, if that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Like different roles, and maybe you might really like that particular role. Or maybe you might hate it, and you're like, you know what, I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah, it's like sometimes you come in with some notions that yeah, sometimes it's like, oh, you end up like learning a lot of like different contours to what you were pursuing for that. Yeah, just exploration within it because like I wanted to be like a showrunner and have my own
Sure.
like show and everything, and I'm just like these days, no, I'm kind of happy where I am.
I mean, that's a whole other kind of role. I mean, that's
Yeah,
mostly
yeah,
like a
exactly.
manager slash talking to corporate kind of role,
Yeah,
which
that's
some
something
people
I
really
had never
like, but
considered.
like you're not going to be drawing, or at least, you're not going to have time to draw because you're going to be too busy managing other people and talking to having meetings with, blah, 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 to really,
Yeah,
so some people like that, and some people are like, that's not what I want to
yeah,
do.
exactly. It's like yeah, some people are built for it. I'm just like
Yeah,
I'm not really, yeah, it's like as I got older and like was working and stuff and also like experienced like productions and stuff like that, I'm like, no, I'm good where I
sure.
am.
Um, here's a question I usually give to my people I interview. You can
Hmm.
answer it however you want to answer it. And it could be you can answer it. Some people talk about it from an industry standpoint. Some people just kind of talk about it from an artistic standpoint.
Okay.
So it's up to you how you want to answer it. There's no wrong answer. Where do you see animation going in 20, 30 years?
Hmm.
The
That
future of
that
animation, you know what I mean? So you can talk
yeah.
about it from a corporate, like this is how TVs and movies are going to be, or you can talk about it just
Hmm.
like this is how people are going to express themselves in, whatever.
Sure. Yeah, no, it's kind of evolving at such a rapid pace, and like, like
Sure.
where I
AI.
started to where it is now,
Yeah.
like, yeah, like that
That's
is
the
that
sort
that's
of
one.
elephant in every room when I specifically
Yeah.
animators.
I
Although it's
I
affecting other
kind of
areas, but like.
yeah, that's kind of like a whole systemic thing. But it's like I kind of yeah, in regards to that, it's like I feel like the animation industry itself, like, with a lot of media, it has like ebbs and flows.
Sure.
Uh, some ebbs are larger than others. Some flows that like
And
during
some of it is
COVID.
also economics. Right
Yeah,
now, in my opinion, I'm not an economist, but we are heading into a recession. And
yeah,
we're also in a period where a lot of media companies are buying each other. And when that
yeah,
happens, unfortunately, well, now there's less media companies. And so if you're an
yeah,
animator, there's less, at least corporate work, because there's less people spending money.
yeah.
That's how that works. Now, that's not forever. Eventually, some other people will
Mhm.
start up. But, it's like, there's always, like you said, there's ebbs and flows, and some of that is technology, and some of it's also literally just economics. When people don't,
Yeah,
when the economy's down, people don't usually spend money on things, and that sometimes, unfortunately, is animated TV shows or animated
yeah.
movies. Uh,
Yeah, during COVID, it was the one unusual thing where it's like, oh, there was a fire
yeah,
hose of
there's a
animation
that was a
work.
big boost, and unfortunately, I think we're seeing the media companies correct. I think they thought
Yeah,
they spent too much, and so now they're like
there's a bit of a
cutting the budget
hangover.
that they had before, unfortunately, for the
It's more,
animation
it's like
industry.
I don't miss the 80-hour work weeks that I was
Sure.
having at the time. But yeah, it's thinking about it 20 to 30 years from now, it is kind of unpredictable. It's like there's going to be like I will say the indie scene that exists now is way larger than it was, and
Okay.
it's going to just continue to keep growing. Like
Mm,
I mean, I really admire like what like Glitch Studios is doing.
mm,
Like I really like Amazing Digital Circus, and I mean, yeah, they're doing so many shows now.
mm.
And honestly, yeah, it's like I'd like to see more of that where there's more little studios popping up. Frankly, like one of the ones that was involved with the Smiling Friends Studio Yata. They do a lot of the commercial work, and
Mm.
they've been in like it's funny. It's like it's all those are all like Newgrounds people for the most part for Studio
Sorry, they're all
Yata.
who? They're all what?
Newgrounds
Oh,
people.
Newgrounds. Yeah, yeah.
Like Smiling Friends is created by Newgrounds people. And yeah, it's just kind of the thing where it's like these online spaces that have existed uh will just spawn people and enter the
Sure.
industry, and yeah, it's kind of the thing where there's different eras of things. It
Right,
also
right.
depends on who's running what where and like where their eye is for this stuff. But yeah, no, it's like there's just so many independent creators now,
Mm.
and yeah, like for a long while now it's like, yeah, people can just upload stuff to YouTube like
Right.
at their leisure. And it always gets the thing of like having to market yourself and stuff like that.
Sure.
But like I really admire I have a friend Aaron Long who does a cartoon called Sublo and Tangy Mustard that
Okay.
he's directed for like BoJack Horseman and Two Can
Oh,
a
nice.
Birdie, and he just fully self creates a web series that probably, I think it has like over 20 episodes now, and he's been just putting one out every once in a while for the
Nice.
last 7 or 8 years.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Yeah, some of them are like 11 minutes long. And yeah, he does like everything except for some of the voice acting. But yeah,
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, the future is interesting. I think technologically, we're at kind of a weird place. I mean, not that I'm an expert or anything, but I kind of said it's kind of like we're kind of in that period where like in the late 80s there was that switch from sort of analog to digital. Everything before was like, I've done traditional cell animation, and it's like that was all
oh
hand
yeah,
done with gouache and all that kind of stuff. Of course,
oh yeah.
no one's been doing that since like probably early 90s, but like, it's
Hmm.
like we went from that to like whatever program, Macromedia Flash or whatever the program was that Disney was using in the early 90s. But like I feel like we're kind
Oh
of there
yeah,
now, maybe a little bit with we're seeing where AI is going to sort of fit into the pipeline. Um, I don't think it's going to replace animation or animators,
no,
but I do think it will play into maybe how certain things are done, where
yeah. The copyright question is never gonna get resolved with that stuff.
yeah, I was hoping this would all blow up when Disney got into the mix, but then Disney settled with Chat or OpenAI, and so that kind of they were really the only
Yeah,
big enough litigious group that really because the only thing that's going to scare a corporation is a bigger corporation,
yeah. I think they turned around and
unfortunately. And
sued
they were
Google
really
for the
kind of the
same
only big
thing.
enough corporation that really could have like really taken it to them. And unfortunately, they kind
Yeah,
of took the money and said, okay, we're not going to bother you. So unfortunately, I don't know what's going to happen if because who else is going to go? I don't know who else would go against them.
like
But
I have some like opinions about this. And I'm like, I don't think that it's going to be a legal question. I think it's purely just going to be an economic one. And it's just like, they keep passing around the same money, and it's like after a certain point, it's like the bill is going to come due. It's like, hey,
right.
you guys got to actually show what like your work is resulting in, and if it isn't,
Oh no, I
uh,
mean if we're talking about the AI bubble, yeah, no, I fully believe this is I mean
yeah,
you're old enough, you remember the dot-com bubble. I have
oh
a
yeah,
feeling it's going to be some I mean people I mean I don't know if you can invest in AI companies so in the traditional sense that like we did in the startup era, but like yeah, I think there's going to be an economic downturn in the next.
yeah,
I don't know when. Like I'm not an economist. I can't pinpoint
yeah,
like
yeah,
this is when it's going to happen. But like let's just say I don't think things are going to be when people talk about AI in 2 to 3 years, I think it's going to be a very different tone about how we talk
yeah.
about it.
It's very quickly shifting. Like, I mean, the language that people use about it is similar
Right.
to what they were talking about with NFTs.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean, it was NFTs was the thing, and now no one everyone's like, oh yeah, that was silly, wasn't it? Or like, I don't know. There's always these technological things that come up, and everyone's like, this is the future. Just kidding. Like,
yeah.
you know,
Well, it's always
I
it's
remember
like
when I'm a
the
I'm a
people
web
selling you
guy,
this.
and everyone's like, oh, everything's gonna be free and everything's gonna be ad supported. This was like, I don't know, 2008, 9. And then of
Hmm.
course, what happened is everyone made a Netflix and charged for it. So it's
Oh
like,
yeah.
I mean, I remember that conversation. Everyone's like, oh, everything will be free, all music and videos and everything will just be ad supported. I'm like, I don't think that's gonna I'm not an
Well,
economist, but I don't think that's gonna work out. And guess what? It didn't.
yeah, they're kind of working their way back into recreating cable, and it
Yeah.
just
I
yeah,
always think it's funny. It's like you and I are kind of that age when in the late 90s there was this dream of like, oh man, in the future, wouldn't it be great if like I didn't have to pay for the whole cable package? I just get like the couple channels I want and it's like
yeah.
cheaper. And that's what on demand was originally because everything was on
Yeah.
Netflix. But now we're basically back to the tiered in a different form. It was like back in the day in the 90s, it was like, well, you had your basic cable package, and then like you paid extra for like
Yeah.
HBO and extra for ESPN, and it was like the premium package, right? And now it's like it's not all from one company, but now it's like, all right, you got to pay $10 to Netflix and $5 to Hulu and
Yeah, you
seven
get that
bucks
Disney
to
Plus
Disney Plus.
Hulu
And it's
HBO
base, I mean,
Max
it's still
bundle.
cheaper, but you're still like paying a lot when you really add it all up. Like it's
Yeah,
not dramatically much cheaper than it was in the 90s.
yeah, cable companies are getting desperate. You can just pick and choose what channels you want for
Okay,
some cable
okay.
packages now.
It's been a
My
while,
dad told
so
me that, and I'm
yeah.
like, I haven't had cable in 15 years, but my dad's just like, no, he's like, I get to just choose individual channels I want now. I'm like, all right.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have, and you don't have to, I don't like putting people on the spot here, but do you have any sort of uh closing advice for my students? Or you can say you have none.
Hmm.
That's perfectly valid too. I had one person who said,
Uh,
like, I don't have any advice. And I was like, okay, that's fair. Like,
uh, well, I would just want to say that it's a lot of skills that students might already have might come in handy in ways that they never expect.
okay.
Uh, like if yeah, just yeah, if they yeah, like any talents they have outside of animation as well can absolutely aid in them being animators. There's many different avenues of animation
Mhm.
to pursue where yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, obviously there's film and television
Right.
and like commercials and stuff, but yeah, just so many different avenues where like animation is needed, uh like music venues and sports venues and stuff like
Sure.
that, and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
ad copy and yeah, like
Sure.
ad agencies
Yeah, I
pay
mean, always, I mean,
fantastically.
commercials have been pretty much, I mean, I talk to older animators and they're like, yeah, I did
Yeah.
commercials to stay alive, because they were like maybe abstract guys. And they're like, yeah, I had to do
Mhm.
commercials because how else was I going to pay my
Pays
bills? Like,
well.
you know,
Uh, Also, it's like it's hard to get bored if you're on a new project. Like, yeah, when every
yeah, they're usually
project is like a
short. They
short-term
don't
thing, and
last very long. It's usually, yeah, a couple months in and then you're done. And then,
yeah, yeah, and it's just like yeah, it's a thing where no one really ever mentions it until you're in the field, where it's like, oh yeah, it's very contract-based work.
mhm.
Uh, and it's good to keep busy like during and in between. Just
Sure.
with anything, it's like it's like I should take my own advice sometimes too and try more often. But yeah, it's like good to just keep aware like what the landscape of
Right.
the field is. Like I was having, it's like, oh, Adobe tried announcing that Animate was going to be discontinued, and
Right.
then people got
There was
so mad that
backlash.
yeah, they immediately just were like, okay, never mind, we're not discontinuing it. It's like staves off for a couple of years. It's like I don't know what's going to happen once like like Mac and Windows update far enough where it might not be stable on them anymore, or like
Yeah. I
After
mean, that's the
Effects and
problem.
Media
It's like
Encoder.
they weren't doing anything anyway. Like I have
Yeah,
trouble believing they
yeah,
put any effort towards updating Animate in the last 5 years, but like
no.
they're gonna do even less in the future, if anything. So yeah, I
Yeah.
hadn't thought about that, but yeah, maybe in 5 years when the operating systems have improved, it may not work, but we'll see. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's because they couldn't figure out how to put AI features in it. But
Right.
yeah, yeah, it's a whole thing where it's like, yeah, just I guess it's like there's a lot of different programs to use, a lot of different mediums. Uh, there's just a lot of different paths in general.
Mhm.
Very unexpected courses. Uh, yeah,
Well, great. We appreciate your time. Thank you so much for chatting with us. If do you have any like website or place my students can see your work or find you on social media? If you don't worry. But I'm just saying,
yeah,
like some people like
no,
to promote themselves and all that kind of stuff.
I'm just I keep a low profile.
Okay, there you go.
I have an IMDb that
Sure, I
tracks
can
my
put that in
credits
front of
and
students. There you go.
okay,
It shows
sure.
all the work you've done.
All right. But
All right. Well,
yeah,
we
thank you for
appreciate
having
your
me.
time. Thank you so much, Darren.
Yeah, thank you. Happy to do it.